They rose, they spoke, they shouted. Some were heard, some were not heard. A very good afternoon, and I welcome you live this afternoon from SG Restaurant here at Two Rivers Mall. We are coming to you here, courtesy of our own guest who is on set this evening to teach us and then, of course, to expound on what the Gen Z mean to this government, and not only to the government of Kenya, but to the Africa as a whole continent. Join us this afternoon and share the link. Welcome your friends. Tell them that we are here. And of course, as you can see today also, I'm carrying with myself a biro pen and a book, of course. And of course, there is a new book on table that we'll be talking about it later on. So welcome, share the link, welcome your friends, and tell them that we are here for the next 1 hour. Let us get the knowledge and wisdom that will build us and build our capacity. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
For the very first time, you can tell our viewers that, of course, your name and, of course, in your capacity. Who are they seeing?
Yeah. My name is Emmanuel Muchui. I am an author. I am a young entrepreneur, and I am an activist who strongly believes that we are not here to agree with the status quo. We are here to confront status quo and to really cause a change, because I believe more than ever we are a generation that is really living in a very unique time, and the challenges of other generations are not our challenges. I talk about that in my book, I Am Gen Z, that what we are experiencing right now, it has never been experienced maybe by other generations. So I am here, and I believe that I am here to cause a change, and we cannot always do things the way we've always done them. So that is one of things that I strongly believe. Yeah.
He is Emmanuel Muchui. He has given you 3 titles. He is a young entrepreneur, he is an author, and of course, he is an activist. Right? But for today, or for this afternoon, allow us to deal with only 2. The third one, God will give us another time to expound on it. But we are going just to focus on the author, the professional of author, and of course, as an author, and of course, on the other side, we are also to expound much as an activist. What does it take to be an activist? And of course, what are the impacts, and where is the history taking us from? Where are we relating from when we say, like, we have the act of activism in Africa and, of course, in Kenya? Feel free to talk to us.
Thank you.
So, literally, we are going to deal with 2 professionals.
Yeah.
The author,
Yeah.
Emmanuel as an author.
Yeah.
And of course, we're also going to talk about Emmanuel as an activist. But for this author, how about it?
Yeah.
When did the dream come? And when did you start?
Definitely. I would say I started writing at quite a young age while I was still a teenager. I remember, I think when I was around in Form 2, I watched a very young author. She was 11 years old, and she had already published her own book. Then I think that really sparked something in me, that we are not too young to do something. I know we usually have this challenge in our society where we think that I am too young to write, I am too young to begin. But for me, watching an 11-year-old having published her own book, that really challenged me and sparked something in me. Then I really started writing. I remember I had a small notebook back in high school, and I think the idea that I started writing, actually, I wanted to write a book that was titled "You Are Not Born to Suffer." There's usually a reggae song, I think it's by Bob Marley, that says "Born to Suffer." Then for me, I was like, no, bro, we were not born to suffer. So I started writing a book named You're Not Born to Suffer. So I started writing quite at a young age while I was still a teenager, but I didn't get published until last year. So that idea, I had the idea of I want to write, but I really didn't know how to write, or rather I didn't have someone to guide me or to tell me, hey, you can write and get published as a young person. That is why I also believe that it is important for us to support young people, because deep down in them, they carry dreams, they carry great ambitions. So for me, yes, I got published at the age of 24, but I think I should have been published at 16 or 17. Yeah.
When you say like at an early age you get some inspiration and of course you feel like you can do it, can we align this to a state where your memory has to be sober? Because as an author you need a clear memory, a strong memory, to recall the past, to reconnect with the present, and of course to reflect on the future. Can we say like it also comes with the richness of the memory? Because not everybody can think what happened in 1975. We were not there.
I think you're right, because they should say you cannot pour from an empty cup. So basically, I think your mind, what you feed your mind really shapes what you can always be able to pour out as a writer, as an author. Because basically, when you're writing, you're just reflecting, you're putting down what is in your mind now into writing. So I agree with you. Your mindset is so much important. And over the years, as a young person, I've also really focused on shaping my mindset. What do I fill my mind with? What are the kind of content that I listen to? What are the kind of books that I read? So basically, I would say, yes, I've focused on filling my mind with the right kind of stuff, because this is what now I'm reflecting to write. It's I take writing as the digestion process. You cannot eat pizza. Okay. I don't know how well to put that, but I think you get the concept of what I mean.
Yeah, I do get the concept because okay, right, let me not explain.
Yeah.
But by using my own example, but I get the concept.
Yeah.
So having known like you can do this, and you started having that notebook, of course, as a young teenager, we grow up, some of us face different challenges, but then when did you now specialize to what you do? Because I believe we can have different authors who major in different fields. Maybe a major in the political field, somebody majors in like literature. But how did you, at a young age, of course, differentiate and feel like the one you chose is the best way?
All right. Before I talk about that, let me take you a little bit back. So I started writing while I was a teenager, but I really didn't know how to practically now publish a book or really finish writing the book. I was just writing ideas. Then I remember sometimes back when I just joined campus, I met a guy who had published a book at the age of 19. His name is Walubengo. So I met Walubengo, and he had already published his book. I think his book is called Sprout. So when I met him, I was like, wow, this thing's really doable, because for the young girl that and published a book at the age of 11, I was just watching her on the social media. But now I met and I ended an encounter with someone who has already published his book. Then from there, we started having conversations. And when you've met someone who has done it, it really pushes your ambition. And you're like, if this person has done it, myself too, I can do it. So that really made myself to want to really do it and have my book published. Then you've asked what really pushed me to write
The specialization.
to this specific genre.
Yeah.
Let me go back a little bit. I started writing the book I Am Gen Z. Okay, maybe I can show people. So the title of this book, it's I Am Gen Z.
Yes.
Then when you open the first, maybe you can open it.
Please do.
Yeah. So the subtitle of this book, I'd say people would say it's controversial. It's called I Am Chira, Brian Chira. And I know many people knew who Brian Chira was.
Probably.
So when Brian Chira died, it really hit me hard, because I was one of the people who really, I met him. And I remember there's a day I met him and he was looking a little bit drunk. It was just within this neighborhood in Ruaka. I used to live in Ruaka, near to where I used to live then. Then I was like, what if I become a good influence to this guy? Because I feel like in the society, we just watch people. Maybe people are struggling with drugs and we just watch them, but we never try to become good influence to them. Then Chira was really a good guy. He was quite friendly with people. I remember that specific day I greeted him. He's very jovial. Then I'm like, what if I try to bring this guy closer to me? I can really influence him and maybe encourage him to stop using too much alcohol. But the kind of the society we've grown in, I mean, we really judge people more than we would want to help them. So that day, a thought came in my mind. Then I was like, maybe his values and mine does not align with his values does not align with mine. People might judge me, when they see me walking with him. And I know some people thought like, Chira maybe is, he has a different sexual orientation.
Yes.
Maybe he's not straight. So definitely I'm that thinking, hey, when people see my neighbors and people around here wakiniona natembea na yeye, they will be like, So then later on, the guy and died like 2 weeks later. He and died. He was normal. Then I was like, bro, if I'm trying to help this guy, because the night that the guy had an accident, he was like coming from a club. So maybe that night he could not have gone to club. So from that point, I just thought to myself, how many more young people do we have in society? We do not help them until we lose them. Then I was like, I'll start writing. I can, through my writing, I can be able to touch people. I can be able to share information that is going to influence and change the lives of so many young people. Because I believe one of the biggest ignorance that we have in Kenya and in Africa at large, it's ignorance. We have young people, yes, they have information, but largely people are misinformed. We are in the era of information. People are exposed to the wrong type of content. So for me, I was like, through writing a book, this book, I Am Gen Z, I can be able now to dive deep into the real issues of the young people. I know there are topics that people find uncomfortable to talk about or to write about. So for me, this book, I'll say it's a raw, unfiltered book that speaks about the reality of the young people. So I think I've answered my question. That's what really inspired me to focus on this specific genre. Yeah.
At times we get to realize ourselves, we get to realize the dreams, but we face a couple of challenges towards whatever we want to be. So I don't know how, when you forego, because I believe it is not only thing you thought about at an early age, but how did you find it easy to forego other dreams, visions in life, and just to focus on this author?
Man, I can say I can tell you how many hours I sat alone. Right now I think we are in a age and we are a generation that is most distracted like never, no other generation.
Yes.
Right now you can just start scrolling on your TikTok and you scroll for 3 hours. So how do you get the time to even write? So for me, I'll say I really want to make a decision that will I continue being a consumer of content, other people content, or will I become a creator? So basically, I really aim to sacrifice quite a lot of things. I aim to push myself beyond my comfort because I'll say I've always wanted to write and finish a book, but the danger is you just write a few sentences, then you're like, let me scroll on TikTok a little bit. You scroll for 3 hours, then you write for 10 minutes. So for me, basically, I really aim to even uninstall some apps on my phone so that I can really put in hours on writing and focus on writing because there are so many distractions. And as a young man, a young person in your 20s, there are so many things that want your attention. So for me, I really aim to make a decision that, hey, Emmanuel, I have to push myself beyond my comfort zone. And I started going to places where I just sit alone. I could sit alone for 5 hours, 6 hours and just focus on writing.
Do we say like that is basically where you get your inspiration? Because in a quiet place, sometimes you tend to reflect, you think, you strategize, and then you focus. Do we say like those are the moments as an author now in general? You people normally get some good inspiration from such like environment.
Definitely, you're right. I am one of the people who really love quiet spaces because you can never find inspiration in noise. you can never, for you to really have creativity, I think for me it works when I'm in solace places. So for me, I'll go to places like Karura Forest and just sit in the middle of the forest by myself. Then from there, my mind is so creative. Or early in the mornings when there's no noise, I wake up at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and it's so quiet. So basically, I would say, yeah, silence and quiet spaces really help me in becoming creative. Yeah.
Uh, Having chose now a this genre, do we say like the wake up of Gen Z really put some limelight in what you really wanted to do? Because you might have thought about a variety of facts, a variety of things to write, but now to capture the attention of the reader, you need a moment that will go with what the readers want to hear about. Do we say like the wake up of Gen Z, the Maandamano, and of course brought the right time for you to go down with such like a book? Let's now talk about this.
Definitely, it did in a big way. And just to go back a little bit, when I started writing this book, I thought I will title my book I Am Chira, Brian Chira. That is what I thought I'm going to title my book. But now, when the Gen Z, we rose and we decided that we are not going to agree with the status quo, we are here to push and to destabilize the system, then I thought, Chira, at some point, I remember Chira and something called Brian Chira Clan. So the guy was not just an individual, it was a movement. And he was also a sensational. He decided not to be quiet with the real issues that people choose not to talk about. Then now, when we rose as a whole generation, I thought actually I should not narrow down my writing experience to one individual.
Because you're basically
This
talking
is-
about youth.
Yeah, I am talking about young people. So Chira, yes, was a Gen Z, but now many Gen Zs rose and they have the audacity, Chira and the audacity, he could just speak and mention things. Then now our whole generation rose and we were in the streets, we wanted to change things. Then now I thought I can broaden my writing experience to talk about our whole generation and not just one personality. Yeah.
So for the sake of capturing the whole attention of the readers, the appetite of the readers, I can say like played a part.
I mean, you have to write something that resonates with the people and something that really relates with the people. Yeah. Because I'm writing for the people. Yeah.
I don't know where you're watching from, but I believe you're enjoying the discussion. We have talked about Emmanuel Muchui as an author, and of course, we have the two segments: him as an author, and of course, him also as an activist. We believe like the name activist is not new to many and a million Kenyans, because Kenya has brought Africa to understand what is the need and what is the importance of standing up when it really calls for. So I don't know where you're watching from. I'll be getting my phone, and of course, just pop in your question. Of course, if you have a question to him, of course, it is not the first and the last time we're going to have him on set. We are going to have him on set because the young minds are so much needed to building a very stable Africa, not only Kenya. We are beyond Kenya, and we're talking about Africa in general. So tell us where you're watching from. Of course, I'll be reading your comments if at all it's there. And of course, ask us your question. If at all you want to ask him a question as an author, of course, you're a young author watching, you want to get something from him, of course, this is the discussion that will qualify to enable you get those knowledgeable skills, right? That is it. Maybe the last question about Visa. Is this the first book you've written? And of course, now in general, like as an author, there are those people who have gone ahead of you. They are well established. You've learned something about them. What do you think, like in your in your capacity as Emmanuel? What have you learned from your people who have already established themselves? Like they say, like Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and of course, when you look at such like people, what do you ape from them?
Well, definitely to start with the first question, this is not my only book. I have authored 4 books. And I'll also be sharing the other books with you. Maybe I can mention the name of
Thank you.
books.
Please do.
Yeah, so my first book, this one is called I Am Gen Z, and it just speaks about the reality, the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth of the Gen Z and also the millennials, partly because I feel we're a different kind of a generation.
Sure.
What works for our parents and our grandparents, it's different from what works for us. And in this book, I focus on themes like mental health, because other generations actually they don't really care. You'll not find our parents talking about their mental health, but for us, I feel like we are a generation where we really care about our mental health, our emotional wellness. In this book, I also talk about sex. I feel like, in other generations, talking about sex is like a taboo. But for us, I feel like we live with sex every day. I mean, like, sex is something that happens to us, and, it's part of our life. So I boldly talk about sex in this book. And I will not talk about everything that is in the book. I'll tell people,
I will
of
just
course,
advise
they
them.
should read the book.
Of course. If you're watching, this is it. I Am a Gen Z by Emmanuel Mchui.
Yeah.
So I believe they are in the right, because when you talk about it all, you'll exhaust, and maybe they will not have the need to get a copy. Personally, I'll get a copy of it because I'm a reader too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
The
the first
other
one.
books that I have another book called Must Go. So basically, that
Is it
now-
inspired by the normal must go chants?
Definitely, because the system it has to go. So the book must go, because I felt like with the Gen Z, we are really pushing for change, but there's really a huge gap in our civic education. So for me, I would say my second book must go. It's like a bold manifesto that really I try to fight ignorance, because I think part of the problems that we are having in Kenya, we've been brought here by ignorance, people voting out of ignorance. So for us, for me, I thought writing a book the book must go. I can be able to really speak about the real issues and really focus on civic education. Then my third book, it's called Hey, Are You Okay? Hey, Are You Okay? That's the title of my third book. Hey, Are You Okay really speaks about mental health and emotional health. Just as I've mentioned earlier, we are a generation that cares about our emotional well-being, our mental well-being. And, in the society that we live in, of course, when I meet you, I will ask you, hey, are you okay? Or I will text you, are you okay? But most of the times when we do this so casually, it's a cultural thing. We don't mean to get to know if people are really okay.
It doesn't sink.
It doesn't,
Like you just
yeah.
ask me casually, Vincent, are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are living in a period where people are going through a lot. People are, at times I scroll, I read through TikTok's comment, and I see people are saying like, hey guys, I'm going through a lot. I need somebody to talk to. So basically, I think we really need to change how we do, how we interact with people, because we can just be in the same room or even living in the same house, but maybe I'm dying from the inside, but the other person is not taking the initiative to really know if they are okay. So for me, I wanted to really know if my readers are okay, focusing on their emotional and their mental well-being. Then, especially in Kenya and in Africa, all of us, we've gone through childhood trauma. And childhood trauma, I know people really don't want to talk about this. Almost all of us, in some way, we went through trauma as children. And if we don't focus on healing the childhood trauma, it shapes the kind of adults that we become. I've seen girls and women who believe that all men are evil, and they're like, I can never want a man in my life. I can never want to get married.
Yeah.
And some of them, maybe it's because of the experiences that they went through when they were young, maybe with their dads or their uncles. There are people who went through abuse when they were young,
Sure.
and they have grown with it and they have never healed. So basically, in my third book, Are You Okay? I focus on even healing childhood trauma, because pain, unless we go through healing, it lives with us and it shapes how we react. Then my last book, it's called Proud Somali. Proud Somali. So the reason I wrote the book Proud Somali, I feel like people really have a lot of stereotypes when it comes to viewing the Somali community. Personally, I'm not from the Somali community, but for the last 5 years, I've been working so closely with brothers and sisters from the Somali community.
Yes.
Maybe I can give you a brief history. When I was young, in the place I grew up in, when I come from a T tea farming zone. Then in the tea farming zone, there's something called bonus. Like it's that period in the year where farmers get paid. So we used to have people from the Somali community coming as hawkers to sell clothes. Then we used to call them warrior. So
It's a common name, household name.
yeah. So we used to have different. I think that one in a way really shaped how I view the Somali people. And I even think right now, even in Kenya, people usually have a stereotype. Wanasema, hey, achana nao ni wa Somali, sijui wa Somali, sijui wa Somali. But for me, my experience over the last 5 years working closely with Somalis, I've come to know that they are one of the best kind people. They're really kind. They're generous. They are hospitable. So for me, I wanted to confront that stereotype, especially the negative stereotype that people have towards the Somalis. And I believe there's so much that we can be able to learn from Somalis. These guys have come in Kenya and they are really redefining the economy. They've built their own city in Eastleigh. They are, when you check even the biggest restaurants in Nairobi, these people are,
Have a hand in it.
yeah, they are actually having the best hospitality. They're really like leading in the hospitality sector. So I thought there are some lessons, because we should not have tribal conflicts trying to fight against each other. I think we should learn from each other and embrace each other and have a good perspective on how we view each other.
Sure.
Yeah, those are now my 4 books.
Out of the 4 books, I can, in my own perspective as Vincent, I can see the 3 must go, I am a Gen Z, and of course, hey, are you okay? Or do I say like they're inspired with almost a common theme?
What do you think is the deal?
Because what Kenya is going through,
Yeah.
actually every African is informed.
Yeah.
So definitely, if I'm from Zambia, I'm from United States, and I'm coming to Kenya, I'll want to have a taste of it, because I believe like the way I'm looking at it, I tend to believe like there is a one theme expressed through different branches, and the branches are these 3 books.
I mean, you have a sharp perspective. And,
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, you might be right. Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you, and of course, I'll be also trying to talk to you after this, so that Proud Somali can also be getting my attention, because we've grown in a society where there is a lot of stereotypes, and people are given, I believe, to be what they're not. And of course,
Right.
earlier on you touched something where I believe like the technology, and of course, they're bringing of our parents, our grandparents. We cannot use the same technology to go in the right future.
Yeah, there's a powerful code that says you cannot use the old maps to find new paths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to embrace the new technology. We need to embrace the new upcoming. And that is it. I don't know if I've told there's something about the book you've forgotten.
Just maybe to tell people to read the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
But also we need to preach the same gospel of them going through the books, because I believe we take a lot of time as Gen Zs, of course, going through the social platforms, and we tend to leave the knowledge. The knowledge is always hidden under the books.
Yeah.
It's not hidden on social media. We'll be informed, but will not be knowledgeable. It's a true thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're living in an era of information. And to be honest, right now, people don't read. Right now, most people don't read. We find it easier just scrolling on TikTok or going to watch a video. But I think there's wisdom when we go back to reading. I believe we can really be solid when we get to reading, because even just sitting for 3 hours reading a book,
Yes.
it builds the discipline. It shows that you're focused. You can drop your phone and really focus, turning all those pages. So I think that is something that we really need to encourage our generation, because I feel like we are people who are chasing quick dopamine, and that one it's not even healthy, because someone can just scroll hundreds of videos on TikTok, but I will hear they will not read a book. And I have a couple of people that I look up to, mentors, and one thing that I've realized that is common with all the people, even most of the successful people, they are readers. if you want to be a leader, you must be a reader. You cannot just, it's going to scroll. Social media is good, but I also think reading is even much better.
Enriching yourself with the basic facts, because we learn from some of them who are already in the limelight.
That's
We
right.
talk about them. So
Yeah.
definitely that is it. Maybe for the sake of those who are watching this and those who will watch this, they might want to know, like, there is a lot of sacrifice as a person now you do towards this, because earlier on you mentioned a state where you had to get rid of some apps on your phone and remain with basically one.
Yeah.
Because a person tells me to do such, like, I think I'll take a process.
Yeah.
I'll take some time to accept.
Yeah.
I can go without some apps.
Yeah.
I can go without some communication here and there.
Yeah.
Kenyans love comment section.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely there are those sacrifices
Yeah.
you've done.
Just a quick question. What do you think, if we're not living, if there was no TikTok and Instagram, do you think Gen Zs we wouldn't survive?
I think being a question to me, I don't think Gen Zs would survive, because we, at a high rate,
Yeah.
at a high percentage, we depend on that
Yeah.
to get, like, this person has done this person has done this, this did this. And of course, there's that renaissance, of course. We get, like, in 1975, something happened. In 1970, something happened. What is happening this thing? Are they, like, alternating? Are they contradicting? So most of the time, we tend to stay relevant, because there's a new technology,
That's
the
right.
new social media existence.
Yeah.
So I think I've got you. So that is it. And of course, I was saying, like, you have to a lot of sacrifices done to towards this. And of course, having 4 books at a young age as you're looking, of course, is a huge achievement, because there's that person who watching, he or she would want to be. And of course, he or she might just want to learn something from you, something that they are not aware, they are not doing to fulfill whatever they want.
Yeah.
There's a whole process in writing a book. Of course, I believe they know. There is publication. There is, of course, I am thinking about the idea, executing it, putting in the right grammar, of course, is a huge process.
Yeah.
But maybe just in a closing statement, as we end the process of Emmanuel Mushiri as an author, maybe just talk to that person who's watching. He or she had the same idea, trying to do something that each and every day is not working, as we find like this.
Right. Yeah. So this is what I want to say. Dr. Martin Luther King once said that the time is always ripe to do what is right. And I want to remind you that you're not too young to write a book. You're not too young to begin doing what you've always wanted to do. So I'll just finish that section by giving you a short story. For many of us who know Steve Jobs, who Steve Jobs was, he was the founder of Apple. And there's a time he went to Stanford University to give a speech. Then he said, he said in his speech that one of the things that really motivates him and makes him be different is that he lives his life as if today is the last day. So basically, I think that is also something that has really shaped my mind because at times we think that, oh, I'm too young, I still have more time. I'll do this later, maybe when I'm 30. I listened to someone say that if you're 20 years and you're going to live up to 30, you're pretty old, because if someone is 50 and they're going to live up to 100, they're pretty young. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it.
So basically, I'll tell someone, just begin, do it, seek support. If you want to write, talk to someone like me. I can always guide you. You can always look for people who can support you and help you achieve your dream. And you see right now also with technology, writing and doing things has been made easier than ever before. One of the secrets I'll share with the viewers, right now, let's say you just want to write, but you don't have the grammar, you don't have the right wording. Just go to Grok or ChatGPT. Open the microphone, speak, tell, hey, ChatGPT, I am thinking of this and this and this. And, with AI, they can make AI can help you, make your idea solid and, help you even package your message so well. So if you want to write, this is the time. Not tomorrow, not next year. Start now.
Start now and get the right people in space to help you, to mentor you, and of course, to nurture whatever is in you. And of course, if you're looking at these challenges, speak to the right people. That is the message from Emmanuel Muchui, who is an author, an entrepreneur, and of course, an activist. I told you earlier on that we're going to touch on only two professional, and that is Emmanuel as an author. And of course, we're going now to the second discussion, and we are going to major most on Emmanuel as an activist. Of course, if you have a question about Emmanuel as an author, talk to us, because I told you this is not the last time we are having him on set. Of course, as young as he looks like, as young as maybe I am, we have much to share. And of course, this is the space. Keep subscribing, share the link, welcome your friends, tell them that we are here and we are moving. And now we'll go into the second bit of it. Emmanuel as an activist.
Yeah.
Of course, we've grown. Maybe on my side, I can say like we've grown in an era where we've had the hardest time connecting what is the end of the millennials and giving birth of the new era of activism.
Yeah.
Because you find like, if I relate earlier on, you could find like people could just unite, they get some cars, they start preaching the message. But right now, the message is being preached at night through social media, execution during the daytime.
Yeah. People are injecting always.
Of course.
Yeah.
So as maybe somebody would want to know,
Yeah.
what does this activism mean to you? Activism, is it just making riots, chanting like something, or what is it?
I'll go back a little bit because I think I began my activism journey even before the Gen Z came to the streets. There's a book that I read and it immersed me and it really shaped me. I know most people know Dr. Martin Luther King.
Of course.
So there's the autobiography of Dr. Martin Luther King, and I read about the history of segregation in America and how Martin Luther King and other people in America, they sent enough to segregation, enough to the discrimination of the blacks by the whites. You know, when you study the history of America, during the period where there was massive segregation in America, the blacks could not attend the schools of the whites, or in a restaurant like where we sit, and if you're a black, you know, you cannot go to a restaurant that belongs to the whites. So when I read that book and I read the journey of Martin Luther King, I think it really made me have a different perspective on how I look at things, because I believe the biggest danger in the society is saying that this is how we've always done things, and that phrase is very dangerous because by the fact you're saying this is how we've always done things, it means that you're not ready for change. You're not ready for new things. And now, myself being born in Kenya and raised up in Kenya, especially in a place where I saw poverty firsthand, and I saw what it means going to, a classroom that has no windows, what it means going to
School barefooted. With a torn pant.
With a torn short.
Yeah.
It's not even a trouser, it's a small short. What it means being sent home for school fees. You're a bright child, but you are being told, hey, you cannot sit in this class.
And it's not even a lot amount of money.
Just 500 shillings, imagine.
Not even 500, 20 shillings
20
for exams.
shillings, 100 shillings.
Yes.
Yeah. So having seen that, it made me realize that there's something that is wrong, and not just something small. A big thing is wrong in our society. And now, the way I've grown up to become a young adult, then I see leaders, people who we call leaders, the politicians. You know, it's ridiculous. I think it was on social media where the current deputy president of Kenya, they used an helicopter to go to do a math classroom, like konyanga matope wajenge darasa. And maybe they spent like 100 million for the world tour. Then they go and make a math classroom. So when you see such things, it makes you know that something is wrong with your system and something is wrong with your society. So my activism journey began way back before the Gen Z revolution, if we are to call it revolution, because I understood that there are so many things that are wrong in the society, and I decided that I'm not going to get comfortable. I'm not going to agree with the status quo. So I would say I started even getting uncomfortable in spaces like church, because I feel like, hey, why do we always do things this way? I feel no, this thing is not right. This thing is not right. So that really sparked the activism in me. Yeah.
Can we say like as we relate, because speaking to you, like if we reflect back, there is that need to have what happened in the past so as to be in the right state to predict. But as you predict, we have to do something. Just the way you're doing something by preaching whatever you think is right through the books you've written. And of course, now you as an activist. So as you say, like started earlier on, in your own capacity as Emmanuel Mchui, sitting down and thinking like, when can maybe whatever you feel like is right to be done. How do you feel that pressure as an individual now? You think like our governance is not right. Of course, how we do things in church, as we just mentioned, is not right. Before the riot, the chanting, the must go and everything. How did you feel? How do you feel, or how were you feeling then, before the birth of this?
So I remember there's a time way back before the Gen Z revolution. I think it was 2022, 2023. There's a time I was holding a placard at the archives just by myself. And I remember it was after the 2022 general election. Then I know the opposition, Raila Odinga, then they were like, they have not accepted the results of the election. Then there was really some tension. Like it seemed that it might lead to chaos. Then I remember I went and bought a shirt and branded it Peace Ambassador. And it was a shirt with the Kenyan flag. Then I wrote some placards, and I was having my placards, having a message like, hey, we are brothers and sisters. We should not let politics divide us, and we should not fight each other. And I was also reminding people of what happened in 2007, the post-election violence. We should not get back there. So, yeah, I think seeing the failures in the systems, myself as a person, it really makes me uncomfortable. Because I remember I was there in the streets just by myself, way before the Gen Z thing began, holding the placard. And yeah, I would say I began way earlier. Yeah.
So by that time, you find like you've done something in your capacity. Before now, you saw the blessings of God, I can say, in that in that line.
Yeah.
Because when you feel like something need to be done,
Yeah.
you really try. But if at all there's no way out, you feel like it is very much overwhelming.
Definitely.
But now, how did you see, like, when you saw Gen Z now standing up for the nation? They were against the finance bill, of course, calling out uncouth behaviors with our governance. How did you feel now as a person? Because you try to do it as a person, and then now there comes this blessing where your fellow youth are standing up for their flag.
Honestly, it was massively overwhelming, because I was like, this is what I was, I've always wanted to see, where people get uncomfortable with the status quo. I remember Martin Luther King saying that the society is not a bad place because of the bad actions of the bad people, but because of the silence of the good people. So I think we've been trained, our society, especially in Africa, because I remember when I was in the street holding the placard by myself, some people are like, this one is chasing clout. You know, this one is here to chase clout. This one is here to just kujionyesha. And I think that is the most unfortunate thing, because we get so comfortable even when bad things are happening. And when the Gen Z now, everybody became uncomfortable, and the Gen Z were, coming to the street, thousands and thousands. I think that was really overwhelming for me. And I was like, this is the moment, and this is what I've always wanted to see. So for me, I was so impressed. Yeah.
Before we go into the real, to the last part of it, let us talk about now you. Let us now talk about you in relation to. I've had a lot of references from Martin Luther, and of course, people.
Yeah.
The Black Africans, let me just say it, who grew up in the United States, they had the capacity, but because of some of segregation and of whatever it is, they could not get opportunity to have a good voice by then. So as Emmanuel Muchui, as a Gen Z now, what do we have to learn much about those people we feel like they were the voice of the society? They did not keep silence when it really called for. They stood up. Some of them were harassed, brought to jail, like Nelson Mandela, and of course, they had hard time. What do you think, like, we have the best 2 or 3 things to learn from them?
Definitely. I would say that there's nothing that is new under the sun. Ecclesiastes 1:9. So basically, there's been so many revolutions that have happened in history. You can talk about the Russian Revolution. You can talk about the revolution that happened in America, where the Black Americans were fighting against segregation.
Yeah.
So basically for us, I feel like this is the Kenyan moment. Revolutions have always happened in the world, but now in Kenya, this is our moment. And the way you're asking, I think there's so much we can be able to learn from folks like Nelson Mandela. This dude went to prison for 27 years for him to see the apartheid regime in South Africa get rid of. So I think one of the things that we can be able to learn as the young people, and I'm so happy that we are even now bringing the conversation, we're talking about learning because again, we're a generation that really loves action, and at times we might even not be so keen to learn from others. I think learning is the right thing to do, and let's learn from people like Martin Luther King, people like Nelson Mandela, people like
Thomas Sankara,
even our own Burkina Faso current president, Traore, who is like the modern Sankara. So there's so much that we can be able to learn from them. And I was just reflecting earlier today, I think in Kenya, for so long we've accepted mediocrity. We've really, there's a way, mediocrity in terms of leadership has been so common until we are living with it. In one of my books, I ask people, where did we get the audacity to elect 2 former ICC suspects as president and deputy president, and then 2022 again elect a former ICC suspect? Do we have people who don't we have like leaders, real leaders? So I think it is good that we are having these conversations, because for so long we've accepted mediocrity and we are like, these are our leaders. These are our leaders. Honestly, when we look at Kenya, we've never even gained independence. Of course, the white colonizer went, but we still have black colonizers. So it's like we never I think there's a book by Oginga Ondinga that says not yet uhuru, not yet independence. And I think in 2025 we are not yet
we're still under the captives of the black colonialism,
the black colonizers. So I think there's so much that we can be able to learn. And right now, I believe myself and what other young people we're doing, we are here to destabilize the system, because for so long we've earned our leadership and politicians who they don't go to represent the interests of the people. They go to represent their own self-interest. How can we have one politician in Kenya who owns more than 500,000 acres of land, yet we have millions of Kenyans who are homeless? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think these are the systematic issues that we really need to mention. We need to confront them. We need to change them.
Is it right if I say, like, for the longest time, not only Kenya, but a lot of Africans, we've sympathized with the system? Because in relation to the imagination that you used to have, like how Kenyans elected the ICC suspects, yeah, they come in as we sympathize with them. We give them our votes. They go do the same thing. And when it's that time we are coming again to vote, they come, they show like they are remorseful. They collaborate with us. and of course we sympathize with them.
And I think it's really a huge problem. I was just watching the news yesterday when Rigathi Gachagua was getting back to the country, and you know, I think it's like a Kenyan or an African problem. We forget too easily. You know, it's not even a year. Rigathi was Ruto's deputy less than a year ago.
Yes,
So how has he suddenly become the savior?
a saint.
And we are now we are having conversations of saying, let Ruto go and let us have Rigathi. So what you're saying, I think, is true that
We sympathize with them.
yeah, these people, they make us suffer for 4 years. Then 3 months to the election, they come and they give you a packet of unga. Then you're like, this man is good. He's brought me unga.
Because you've just eaten ugali
yeah.
that you've been eating for the last 4 years.
Yeah, you've been eating. So it's quite unfortunate. And I think this is what the young people, the Gen Z, are saying, that we cannot be fooled. You know, I think you shouldn't fool me once. You should not fool me twice. You know, there's the proverb that says that once bitten, twice shy. So it's okay. They have fooled us for those so many years. But right now, they should not fool us again. We must awaken. And one of the things I'm speaking in my book, Must Go, there's, I think, chapter 3, it says, Kenyans, you've got to wake up now or sleep forever. So this is our moment. It's not just even for Kenya alone. For Africa, this revolution should go across Africa. What our parents have suffered, you know, our parents can suffer in silence. That is why you usually see when you go to the village churches, maybe a pastor, a village pastor is very toxic, but our parents will still go to that church. But for the Gen Z, if you are a toxic pastor, will not come to your church. You don't give a damn about that.
Our parents will still take their chickens, maize, money. Like literally, you are a parent. Your son, your daughter has been chased away from school because of school fees.
Yeah.
But on Sunday, you can afford 300, 500, 1,000 shillings
to go and give the pastor. Or at your home, you don't eat chicken, but you go and cook chicken for the pastor. So I think this is the kind of a mindset that we really need to change. And I'm so grateful for the Gen Z, the kind of mind. I'll say it's the revolution of the mind that we are really experiencing now.
Not only my mind, Mr. Emmanuel, because it also comes with the act of reading, being knowledgeable.
That's right, yeah.
Because if you read the Bible, it will tell you well, like you can give, if at all there's much, but you don't have to sacrifice at all sometimes, of course, just to give and then make people happy while you're suffering.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the knowledge, it comes to the people indulging in the act of reading. Read the Bible, read the set books, read whatever is there. It is passing knowledge.
Yeah.
I get it right. Now maybe going to the bigger question, maybe to expound on the system aspect. How wrong is the system? Because you find like not only in Kenya, we have seen the opposition suffering. Is a question I've always been having on set, but I believe like you are in the right capacity to answer this. Not only in Kenya does we see like the sympathy and the oppression. Somebody will be bad while he's in power, of course. At the end of it, 6 months, he starts now understanding the language of the people. He starts now gaining at the momentum of the people. And then we sympathize, we elect again. But now those who feel like they can lead well, they do something wrong, one single step takes them out of the system. They remain oppressed, they look oppressed, but definitely some of them are not suffering. Like in Kenya, we've had Raila Odinga as the opposition leader for the longest time, maybe for the time I've been alive as a person. I believe also you.
Definitely.
In Uganda, we had Kiza Besigye, who was the other month arrested in Kenya. In Tanzania, we have the case of Tundu Lissu, who is now in prison. Of course, Besigye is also in prison. How wrong is the system in a state where when you get powers, you see other competitors being objectors of the main idea?
I would say the whole idea of democracy it's not practical, especially in our context, in the way you've mentioned the three East African opposition leaders, because I think when you look at not all developed countries, but maybe let's give an example of the United States, I feel like politics in some countries, they are more healthy. And the system, you know, I believe a country like the United States, not entirely, but to some extent, the aspect of constitutionalism is highly regarded and governments respect the constitution. But now back here in Kenya, you ask me how rogue is the system. It's very rogue. It's evil. I won't say it's I even lack the word to use because it's extremely evil. Because why shouldn't you kill people who have different opinions from yours? We've had the current system killing so many young people. We've had bodies of Gen Z activists found in dams, or people abducted and tortured.
Short life.
Yeah. So according to the Constitution of Kenya, I think Article 37.
Yes.
There's the freedom of expression. If I have a different view from yours, like politics, I can. You're not entitled for me to have the same views as the ones that you have. So why shouldn't you jail the opposition leader? Basically because they have a different view from you. I believe that's not right. And this is the kind of leadership, this is the kind of rogue system that we must bring down by all means. Yeah.
Emmanuel, we've stood as youth in Kenya. We've called for different changes in different capacity, in different ministries. We've held president accountable for whatever has been happening. It is the right time, I believe, as a person, and these are my views. These are not Mofo TV's views, but these are my views. That I believe this is the right time. We have really stood when it really called for, because oppression keeps on growing, and new tactics of oppressing an oppressor, our oppressor will always get new tactics to continue oppressing those who feel like are not legible. So reflecting back, Emmanuel, I'd say like a good number of youth came up, they stood, they called for these changes. But at time you find like we face a big challenge, and I call it poverty. This poverty will lead us, but it will hide itself in a sense that we are the right people. What do I mean? I mean this. We've had a good number of youth who are on the front line. Like the person, of course, who is on the cover. Yeah. Many people will relate with him. Casmol.
That is not Casmol anyway.
All right. Yeah. Of course.
But he looks like him.
Of course. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
So when I look at such like situation, youth stood up. There were those who were on the front line. They called for the government. They called for the changes. But a good number of them, the government understood their language. These people are poor. Give them something.
Yeah.
Call them for talks, we'll get them. How are we as youth able to fight the aspect of poverty? Because many people will sugarcoat it, call it different name, and say like, oh, I saw this view. When you are outside, a politician is not making sense. A certain politician is not making sense to you. But after having a discussion with him, how does he become smart all of a sudden?
Yeah, I think money is powerful, and we cannot deny the fact that money is so powerful. And again, poverty leaves one vulnerable. I mean, the reason that I didn't mention that I am a social justice activist, because personally, having experienced poverty firsthand, I believe like poverty is the worst monster. We've seen our girls who are, when good morals, but they have to prostitute their bodies just because of poverty. We've seen, our girls, especially in Kenya, they have to marry old mzungu
and believe that they have money.
Ugly mzungu.
Yeah.
Just not because of love, but because of poverty. So I would say poverty leaves one vulnerable, and it makes you run out of options. So I don't blame the young people who have someone like Casmuel because of the benefit, the money. When you're angry and someone presents you with some food and they tell you, hey, I just need you to say I'm a good person. It can be tempting. But I want to go back to a powerful quote by Martin Luther King. He's saying that the true character of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in the moments of controversy and challenge. So basically, as much as money is tempting, you cannot sell your soul because you're poor. You cannot sell your values, your morals because of poverty. So basically, I would say yes, these young people, they have betrayed us because all of us, we are young people, we are hustling, all of us at some point we've experienced poverty. But instead of selling ourselves and selling our what we stand for and betraying the movement, there are alternative ways that we can be able to use to generate money. Like myself, through writing, I'm building income through selling my books. So if someone like Casmuel wrote a book, I think Kenyans could have bought a book and maybe the million that he was given to support the system, he could have gotten it alternatively. So I think we need to be creative because one, poverty of course is there, and poverty is not a friend, poverty is an enemy. But instead of selling our souls to the system, the system, one thing with the system, it doesn't help you because, what has really pushed us to where we are as a country? We've always accepted the 500 shillings, the 200 shillings from the politician. And when the politician gives you the 200 shillings, when they get into power, they're going to return back their money. So even right now, for people like who have sold and betrayed the system, they should not think that money has solved their poverty issues. It will give you a short-term convenience. Then in the end run, the system is not going to save you. Yeah.
Do you think like those who are the front line of this activism and of course calling bad governance, some of them, they betrayed the vision
Yes,
they had initially?
They did, and that one even makes us to question, were these people genuine from the first, or were they just mere opportunists? Because if it's something that you strongly stand for, even when someone comes and gives you the money, why can't you take the money and always go back to your values? So I think some of them, they just wanted to, and I think this is a big problem because selfishness, because now you're like, because my stomach is full, then I no longer care about my brother. So I think that is really so bad. Yeah.
In a big state, how do you think like is the direction of these the Gen Z wake up? Because when they waked up in a big number last year, the government had to listen to them in a hard way. This year, also they've been calling the government of some of the issues they feel like they were not right. What is the way forward? Because we've seen the government now, to be literal about this, we've seen the government trying to include young youth, of course, offering them some mentorship for the like of my friend, young Kasmol Oure, and others in the same capacity. Do you think like the system is swallowing slowly by slowly those who it thinks like they are the main anti-governments?
Well, so this is what I would say. Revolution takes time. When you start the revolutions that happened in history, it was not just a one-day's event.
Sure.
And there are different stages and phases of a revolution to happen. I think here there are people who have been able to do a successful revolution, like through one moment. But ours, I would say, it will take time. And the fact that many Gen Zs are no longer going to the street, it should not discourage us. And that does not mean that we've lost it. We've not lost it. One of my mantras, I learned it from the former Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. She always says that we are fighters, and when we fight, we win. And I also think Nelson Mandela once said that I don't lose. I either win or learn. So basically, this is the kind of mindset I would want my fellow Gen Zs and fellow young people who want change to have, that we didn't lose. It's just the right timing. In the right timing, we will have a full cycle of the revolution. Back to the other question where you're saying that the system is trying to mentor young people. They're not mentoring us. It's like trying to put a rotten fish in the fridge, thinking that this fish will become fresh. This system is rotten to the core. So even if you try to put a rotten fish in the fridge, it can never be fresh. So basically, this system must go. We can never, we can never say that this system is going to become a good system. It is rotten, and it can never be for the people again.
So basically, I take that as an advice to those youth who feel like the government is mentoring them, I take what you're saying as an advice,
Definitely.
because it will not mentor you. It will just swallow you to
Yeah.
look like what it is.
Yeah, and I've seen people who have the feeling that people like Casmuel is like a younger version of Raila Odinga. It's like Raila Odinga trying to rebrand himself. You know, Raila for the longest years always looked like this opposition figure who is fighting for the people. But bro, he's never been fighting for the people. He has been fighting for himself and for his stomach. Yeah, that's the raw truth.
How long has it taken you now as a person to realize that?
I mean, yes, somehow we were cheating for the longest time, but right now we can never, you fool me once, you can never fool me twice. So I think since that we've realized this, that is why we should never allow people like Casmuel who have already shown their true colors to, we should not think that they are here to fight for the people.
In relation to what you're saying, I tend to relate with your books, and I think like the three of them are we have those messages that are endless. You can't tell this generation, you will tell the next generation, and then like until further notice. Because Must Go is a good, maybe captioning, of course. Great work done there.
Yeah.
Because it is not speaking about a person, but it's speaking about
the entire system.
The entire system.
Yeah.
So if the system is bad, it must go.
It must go in its entirety. Yeah.
I tend to relate much with that. Now, maybe to the second last question of it, maybe discussion of it, not question. How do you look at Africa in general? Because I know it's a whole discussion that we can plan to have next time. But how do you look about Africa? You've talked about Kenya not being independent until today. Yes, I agree with you. Africa now. Are we independent? Because we have seen what is happening in Burkina Faso. People are really clapping for it. The young youth, of course, not the whole system, I can say. We are really clapping for it, like Traore is doing the right thing.
Yeah.
South Africa, we have Julius Malema, who've been of that idea, like, let us even change the name of South Africa. That's a colonial name.
Yeah.
And of course, there's that petition in their parliament.
Yeah.
They're going to move forward with that. There's a certain name they have proposed there. I'll confirm in the next discussion. How about Africa? Is
Yeah.
Africa independent?
I would say, just like Kenya, the white colonizer went, but now we have the black colonizers. And in most cases, these black colonizers, they are puppets of the whites. Like they're just representing the whites. They're here to represent the white. So what I would say about Africa, this is our moment to awaken as Africans, because for so long, I know most countries, they end independence in the 60s, the 70s, early 90s, but we are not free. And the first freedom should come, it should be the freedom of our mind. Let's do a simple example. The people believe that Mzungus are better than us. And it's crazy the way they even manage to colonize our minds, because ourselves, at times, we even look at ourselves inferior, and we think these whites are superior. That is why even our girls would want to date a white. They think they have more money. they think just because you have the white skin, there's the white complexion on your skin, you have more money than the African. And I've seen this in practical cases. I remember there's a time I got into an issue with a white in Karura Forest. Then the way my fellow black brothers treated me, I mean, they were treating this Mzungu as if he's a god and me as if I'm the devil. So basically, I think it's going to be a process, honestly. We need to decolonize our minds because we were taught to hate ourselves. And actually, I think I read somewhere that our problem as Africans is not even the whites. We hate each other. We fight each other. Today, if maybe just the way we're sitting here, if a white and a black young person came here, two guys, we might want to, and it's one seat. Maybe subconsciously we might think maybe the Mzungu should sit in the African. just look at how we treat them, even here in Nairobi.
Yes.
Just let's even think about Nairobi. I live here. So when you walk just down here in Runda, most houses, you just find they are whites. There's actually a whole place here called Roslyn Hill. It's just a white it's like almost a white only neighborhood. When you go to there's the United Nations down here in Gigiri, then you look at the entire neighborhoods over here. It's like the white only neighborhood. And it's not that Africans cannot afford to live in these neighborhoods. It's just, I think it's a conditioning in our minds. We've told ourselves, hey, the Mzungu deserve this, the Mzungu deserve this. I remember like 2 weeks ago, I think a month ago,
Yes.
I went to Kibera and I was with some white friends. Then even the way young kids, they have been taught to see the Mzungu as the savior. I mean, I might have more money than a white, but when I walk in the streets down in Kibera, the children will come running to the white, thinking that this white is the savior is going to help us. So I think we first need to change how we see ourselves, because yes, the colonizers went, but I think our minds in a big way, we're still colonized, and we think these people are superior than us. We really need to change that. I am equally good as the white person is. Actually, yeah, and I even think I'm not a racist, but I think we even have much better capabilities than some of them. So we really need to change how we see ourselves as a continent. And another thing is, we need to know that no one is going to save us. These guys are not going to save us. And, I've seen some weird things like us thinking that, oh, the Mzungu will come to save us. Oh, we need donation from the US or from Europe. We don't need their donation. We just need justice in how business is done. Look, it's crazy to think that Africa is the continent that has the most gold, the most resources, but Europe is where you have more gold reserves. Where do they get this gold from? So, so until we start asking these questions, and I think it's really a bigger issue. It's really a big systematic issue, because we have a lot of economic injustices, because these people actually, Africa is the wealthiest continent in terms of resources, natural resources and minerals, yet we are the poorest continent. So until we start asking these questions, and I know the system tries to silence people like me, people who are thinking critically and trying to ask these questions, but I really love what Captain Ibrahim Traore is doing. We need now to liberate, and it's us young Africans who are going to save this continent of ours. Yeah.
I don't know if there is any question, because I think the discussion is open endless and we can spend here hours. And because we have some other program coming up, we have just to try and tighten ourselves to the discussion this evening, because we've been talking to Emmanuel Mchui as an activist, of course, in the second phase. But in the first phase, remember, we talked with him as an author, a person who has written not only one book, a sample of it being with us here on set, but of course there are other 3 or several books that he has written. Of course, Must Go, inclusive of it, I Am a Gen Z, Hey, Are You Okay? And of course, Proud Somali. Yeah, so those are the 4 books that are already published out there on the market. It's only just you to make your effort and have them. Get the knowledge, of course, because knowledge is power. That is it. Of course, the last question I'll ask from my side is, to end this, Mr. Emmanuel Chui, is what is the threat? Because toward this direction, in the midst of it, I've realized, like, you talk more of independence, of course, the knowledge side of it, having written some wisdom down here through the books. What is the threat of Africa? The number of Pan-Africanists, because initially we could mention them from South Africa to North Africa, of course, and all parts of Africa. But right now, you tell a class 5 kid to mention a Pan-Africanist, many of them will just go to PLO Lumumba, and then it's enough. But what is the threat of having a smaller number of Pan-Africanists? Because we need this knowledge being preached to the generation in, out, each and every day. What is the threat?
I would say the threat is big, because now we tend to have, I was just imagining today, when you scroll on TikTok today, most kids, they think you should become a dancer. Or, you just need to become a content creator.
Yes.
And it's such a dangerous thinking. This now goes back to our education system. what are we teaching the younger generation? What kind of information are we giving them? Let's teach them about our own African heroes. We don't need to learn about heroes from Europe or the US. Let's teach them about Dedan Kimathi. Let them know about Tom Mboya. Let them know about our very own loyal freedom fighters, because this is going to inspire a generation that we will not have people wanting to go abroad. I think the average young person in Kenya or in Africa, they think they should get a visa and go to Europe or go to the US. That is where their life is going to be better. But I mean, we can always have a good life here in Africa. And I think the threat is big when we have fewer Pan-Africanists, but we really need to really preach this gospel that people should love Africa, build Africa, be patriotic to Africa. Yeah.
Be patriotic to Africa. That's the message that we're getting live here from SG Restaurant here at Two Rivers Mall. Of course, it has been a whole 1 hour plus of discussion. It is not only an introduction of what is lined up for you in the next session each and every time, but of course, there is much to discuss about it, because we want to impact Africa. We want to impact not only Kenya, but of course, the knowledge that is being pumped to the system that we are serving today. Of course, we are different, as Emmanuel Muchui has just told us. Of course, he has informed us, because each and every time you see me with a book and a pen, of course, I'm here to write down knowledge and refer to it when it is time. So of course, we've been having that discussion. I don't know from your side, because as I've just said, this is not the first, the last. This is just an introduction of whatever is lined up in the following sessions. Of course, we are going to have them, but maybe just your parting shot, your message this evening to that young youth who's looking up to you, and of course, who's figuring out, like, politically he wants to go for this position, of course, and of course, as you're speaking, do you have any ambition to any political seats? Because to change the system, you have to be in the system.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would want to run.
Looking at that camera.
Yeah, I would want to run for Senate in 2027, because I believe we cannot always make noise from outside. We have to be part of the system, or rather, we have to change the system from the inside. Then my parting shot will be, one of my powerful mantras is usually, I can, I must, I will. So, dear young people in Kenya and in Africa, this should be our mindset, that we can, we must, and we will change the system. Thank you.
A full message, a full wrap up from Emmanuel Muchui. Of course, he is an author, he is a young entrepreneur, and of course, he is a young activist, of course. And of course, being an activist, he has advocates on the side of social, if I'm right.
Social justice.
Yeah. So it has been a whole discussion, of course, and as I've told you, it is an introduction of whatever is lined up for you. So keep on subscribing, share the link, and of course, if you have a question, we are going again to upload this episode so that you can learn much. If you missed, if you have a friend who did not come across it, let him not be worried, because my producer, Bwana Silas Aboge, is all doing a wonderful work to make sure that you are getting whatever is qualified for you to watch. So keep the discussion going, and of course, don't change the dial, because this evening we are coming again with a queen, of course, who's going to enlighten us about matters that she's going to discuss later on. But of course, it has been a good discussion, and it's a proud moment for me to meet you, and whatever is aligned for us, I appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Vincent Okinda, and don't change the dial, because in the next 15 minutes, we're coming up again just from here, SG Restaurant at Two Rivers Mall. It is our new home for this afternoon, and of course, for the next episode, as God will direct us. Thank you.